Here in a nondescript office block in Kigali is someone who must deal with the horror that's befallen her fellow countrywomen. Dr. Odette Nyiramelino is a government minister, a doctor, and a widow of genocide. She's treated many rape victims.
The amount of rape that's being described is staggering.
But rape as a weapon, it was definitely a weapon that was used by the militia, and the people in charge, did they know what was going on?
I think they all knew what was going on. They all knew exactly that all the Rwandan women had to be raped, definitely.
A number of women have said to us that they were told by the rapists, you're going to die a slow death.
Yeah.
Is there evidence, as far as you're aware, both as a doctor and as a government minister, that AIDS was deliberately spread during the genocide?
From maybe some individuals, yeah, because I've heard also testimony of many women who came to my clinic for consultations. And generally, those women who told me that story that they were raped and the rapists were telling them that they were giving them AIDS, generally they've got AIDS. So it means they did it deliberately to really contaminate them and make them suffer.
Back at Avega, Esther is tending to a young woman who's come for help. Eugenie was raped when she was 16. It was her first and only sexual experience, and 7 years on, she's become seriously ill.
Eugenia while she was running, she was stopped by a soldier and she was raped by this soldier. And when the soldier has finished to rape her, he told her, you can go, I don't kill you, I have given you a worse death. The death I've given you is worse. And this is why later when she realized that she has been infected HIV positive, then she realized the meaning of what the soldier have said. He knew that he was HIV positive and he contaminated her deliberately.
icyo cyambayeho kinini kuba ntafite ababyeyi barwaza ariko mbafite byanshimisha ndi kumwe nabo.
She said it is awful what they did, but she said it is even awful because they killed her parents as well. If her parents were still alive, they will take care of her. Now she's alone. I was just thinking, who is caring? Few people, few women who are trying to do what? Yeah. If we can't even afford the medicines for her to keep her alive. And I found so difficult to say, I don't see any future. I found so difficult just to lose hope. I don't want to lose hope. And I feel so desperate. If they told me Josephine has died, Afroza has died, so I don't want to hear next time when I come, Eugenia has died, or Immaculée has died, or Jamil has died. And this is what will happen. Well, why not?
Avega doesn't have the facilities to offer full-time care to Eugenie. Soon she'll have to return to her single-room shelter with no electricity or water, no place for a young woman who is dying. She has a small brother. He was a baby when their mother and father were murdered. So calculated was the targeting of the Tutsi population that radio broadcasts were used to encourage the killers. They are voices I will never forget. As the days went by, we were meeting more and more women who'd suffered a similar fate. Here, listening to their stories, we met the widows in all their humanity, not statistics, not an anonymous mass in distant Africa, but wives, mothers, widows. Just across the road from the Avega Centre, Esther took us to meet another widow, Monica. It's Sunday, which means the children are at home. There are things which cannot be discussed in front of them, so Esther has already told us of Monica's circumstances, that she was raped, and like many other of the widows, she now has AIDS. Three of Monica's children were killed, and she's since taken in orphans from other Avega women who've already died of AIDS. She does for others what she hopes someone will do for her, look after her family when she's gone.
Monica, people have said to me in Britain, and I'm sure they say the same thing to you, you know, why should we care about Rwanda? It's far away. What would you say to people in Britain when they ask that question? Why should we care about the place? Why should they care about you? What happens to your family?
Ugasanga rero abakorewe abagiriwe ibyaha nabi bakomeje kubabara cyane. Monica is saying you have to tell them it is very important that you come and you see. Rwanda used to be a beautiful country, she said. There used to be some nice things here, so it has not been always destruction. So when you come and you see the truth, although you will never, she said you will never know the exact amount of pain which is in her heart and in anybody's heart. But she said it is very important that some people, some external people like you, come and see and know and can tell the others, can let know the others what happened. Yeah. Baraho baricaye bameze neza abacu banasigaye urabona ukuntu bababaye. The truth, she said, the truth must be said. Those children, they will never have anymore a father, a grandmother, an auntie. They have all been killed. So they have to grow in that. They have to grow with all this pain. Sometimes when they walk on the street, you think you see people alive, but there is nothing inside. And wondering, like now, they don't even know where the father has been killed, how has he been killed, where is he buried. They have not been able to bury him. So there is so much going in the heads of people. And what they found so bad, the worst, is people trying to make like if there's nothing happened, everything is okay. This denial makes a big... It's too hard.
Yeah.
This is a country of widows. Tens of thousands like Monica and Immaculée. Many have never been able to find their husbands' bodies, and so they haven't been able to give them proper and dignified burials. What Rwanda has instead are mass graves, like the new memorial at Gizozi, a place of the nameless dead.
Esther, does anyone have any idea how many people are buried here?
Yeah, they think over 200,000.
200,000?
200,000, because down here are mass grave, up here is mass grave, and there are still bodies down
no
there.
matter how much I know about the facts of what happened, when you say something like 200,000 people, it's just hard to
to visualize.
in one place.
Yeah. You just think if we have a meeting of 5,000 widows, you just think the same number of men have been killed, plus children, plus grandparents, plus all the families. So you just imagine. Yeah.
Shall we look at the rest of the place?
Virtually everyone in Rwanda and many outside the country knew that a mass slaughter was being planned. Death squads were being trained, tons of machetes imported, the radio spewed out anti-Tutsi hatred. But there was a United Nations force here, so most of the Tutsis did not flee. 7 years on, their remains are still being brought to Gizozi for burial.
see where someone's been shot here. Somebody struck with a blow of some heavy instrument. Somebody again who's been hit with a machete, probably. Bear in mind that most of the killing of the people here was done with clubs and machetes. It was hand-to-hand killing of a very intimate kind. And you can just imagine, to kill 800,000 to 1 million people, largely with machetes, just try and visualize the amount of brutality involved in that.
Because she's such a source of strength to everybody else, we sometimes almost forget that Esther is herself a widow of the genocide. Esther's husband is buried in another mass grave across the valley.
For me, the overriding feeling that I get walking in there and walking in there is anger. Because you still have people, you know, politicians, commentators who tell us that we have no business getting involved in other people's countries. Now, fine, they can argue that. But just as long as they know what the consequence is hundreds of thousands of rags and bones like that. That's what it ends up with.
The United Nations peacekeeping force was present in Rwanda when the genocide began. But the United Nations Security Council barred them from intervening.